Hi, thanks for tuning into Choco Millionaire. I am an African from West Africa, especially Ghana, to be specific, Ghana, and I live in Canada. I like to talk about how to contact a supervisor and how to get a supervisor to accept you in order for you to be considered for graduate level admission, which is master's degree and PhD, and with full scholarship as well. If you do enjoy this video, consider sharing it with your friends on social media, on WhatsApp, on TikTok, anywhere you want. Feel like sharing them, share them. Just share them on Facebook, everywhere. If you think this video will also bless somebody who will need it, please consider also sharing them as well. Hit the emojis if you are enjoying my videos. And drop your comments. If you have any questions, please post them under this video. I'll do my best to respond to them. All right, let's talk about supervisors. What kind of supervisors are we talking about? Academic supervisors. Now, basically, if you are somebody who is looking to apply to do a master's degree or a PhD in most countries, especially in the Western world, such as Canada, USA, or any part of Europe, there is a good chance you are familiar with the idea of contacting a supervisor, a potential supervisor, before submitting your application. We're going to talk about why this is necessary at all, how you can do it, and whether it can actually improve your application or not. So first of all, the best way to know whether you need to contact a supervisor ahead of you submitting your application for master's or PhD, especially if you're looking for scholarship, is to first check the requirements under the program that you are applying to. Let me give an example. If I'm applying to do my master's in geography in a university in Canada, let's say University of Carleton, for example, all I need to do is go to the graduate programs website for geography in this particular university, Carleton. And then I read out the requirements for getting admission. Now, under the requirement, if they want you to reach out to a supervisor before submitting your application, they will state it there boldly, telling you it is part of the requirements. If you go to the school's website and under the requirements for the admission or the process for admission, they do not state that you don't need to contact a supervisor, or they are silent on it, they never mention it, then it means that it is not considered a necessary requirement for your application. I'm going to talk about when it is a necessary requirement and when it is not a necessary requirement, what you do. Now, if you go to a school's website and you're looking to apply for a master's or a PhD, and they do specifically write that you need to reach out to contact a supervisor before applying, what does it mean? What it means is that most of the time, that particular department or school or program you are applying to requires that you get a supervisor, normally a professor from the department, who will be willing to accept you as a student that he or she will supervise during the duration of your master's or your PhD. Why is this even a big deal? You see, when you're doing your master's or PhD, most of the time you are required to submit academic papers as part of your requirements to complete your master's or your PhD. This could either be one major research paper, also known as MRP, major research paper. In Canada, we normally call this a major research paper, which is normally a 60-page, minimum of a 60-page research work that you do, and you get a professor to supervise you and guide you to write this research in order for you to submit it as a requirement for you to get your degree award as a master's graduate. A major research paper, MRP, is one of the papers you might write, a 60-page paper before you graduate from your master's program. Some people may not be required to do a major research paper, which is about a 60-page paper, in order to complete their master's program. Some may be required to actually write a thesis. Now, a thesis is a little bit longer than a major research paper. A thesis could go as long as 90 pages or even more than 90 pages. It is a little bit longer than the major research paper. And a thesis could also involve some kind of field work, okay? Meaning that You could actually do a real data collection on the field by going out, collect data, interviewing people, doing some kind of field interviews, focus group interviews and all of that, right? Thesis is more in-depth than a major research paper. With a major research paper, you could write them without doing a real field work interview, focus group interviews. You may probably just review some articles or journals or books that have been published, pick a topic, agree with your supervisor or your professor who is supervising your work, and then you just go ahead and then, you begin writing chapter by chapter, and your professor will review and give you feedback before you complete. So that is it about those who are doing masters and they are doing either a major research paper or a thesis. Now, in the US, they normally call theirs a thesis or a capstone. C-A-P-S-T-O-N-E, capstone. So if you're in the US, you are familiar with what we call a capstone. All right, if you're not doing a thesis, you're doing a capstone. A capstone is pretty much similar to somebody who does a major research paper, which is around 60 pages in Canada as part of their requirements to complete a master's. Now, for a PhD, it is almost guaranteed or likely that you'll be writing a thesis. PhD thesis is actually way longer. You are literally almost writing a book. If you're doing a PhD, the research is required. Why do some schools state as part of the application process for a master's or a PhD that you need to contact a potential supervisor? The reason is that, you see, every department has a number of students that they can admit as international students. Now, aside from them having a threshold, a number that they have in mind that they want to admit, they also want to make sure that no student is left without a supervisor. In other words, they don't want to admit Franklin Freeman, who is watching me right now, or Parkway Joe right now, into the program of Masters for Geography. And then when Parkway Joe or Franklin Freeman comes to start this master's program, he then picks a topic that he wants to do his thesis or major research paper or capstone on, only to realize that, he's having a difficulty finding a supervisor or a professor to supervise him whilst he's doing that research. Now, is it possible to even have that difficulty where there is no professor who is willing to supervise you? Here is the reason. Actually, it's true. You see, if the research topic you have is in an area that your professors are not experts in or are not familiar with, you are basically going to get nobody to supervise you. Let me give you an example. Maybe you want to write on the district assemblies in Ghana, or local government systems in Nigeria, or local government systems in Kenya. And you want to focus on Kenya, you want to focus on Ghana or Nigeria. Local governments. That is your research. You want to write on that. But then in your department where you are doing your geography, none of the professors there has a specialization in local governments. They are all into something else. Basically, when he gets there, because they are not experts, they will not supervise you. It's not like Africa, where our professors are not experts in certain areas, but then they supervise students in those areas. No, here it's all about specialization. So if the department, the professors there are not people with that expertise, in the topic that you pick, you are basically going to be on your own. Nobody will supervise you. So you see, in order to avoid the potential problem of a student coming in, getting admission or scholarship, and then when it gets to the thesis or research time, they cannot find a professor in the department to supervise them, most schools will state as part of the requirement, wait a minute, before you submit your application, make sure you have gone through the list of professors in the department. Make sure you have been able to contact 1 or 2 or 3 of them. Make sure that those people have been able to review your research interest, and make sure that they have agreed that when we admit you, they will supervise you. Basically, it solves that problem. I will give you an example. I had a problem, guys. When I came here and I was doing my master's, I was not required to pick a supervisor ahead of time or contact the supervisor. So I didn't. For the school that I came to, I didn't contact the supervisor. Then I finished my first semester. Getting to the end of the first semester, they started asking us to submit proposals for our research work, topics and all of that. So I came out with a research topic, and then they asked me to now go get a supervisor from the department, professor, to supervise me. Guys, I had a hard time because the topic I picked, basically none of the professors had an interest in that area. So everybody was avoiding me. Look, eventually I ended up getting somebody to supervise me, but it was a tough work for me. Why? Because that man didn't know much about the area. So he was just doing his best to help me, but it was tough. So if you want to avoid that problem, it is in your interest to try and contact a supervisor, a professor, right? And see if that professor is willing to work with you when you get admitted. If you don't, and you still get the admission, good job. But the moment you get the admission, even if you didn't contact the supervisor, if you arrive in the country, go to the department and start getting to work with professors right away. Start getting to figure out which of the professors can easily work with you. If you wait last minute, and your first semester is gone, second semester is gone, you'll be left with almost no supervisor. And here, the white people, they go, everything where they do, they go by ratio. Every supervisor can only supervise just 3 people here in Canada. A professor can only supervise up to just 3 people. So the moment the professor has 1, 2, 3 students, he's done. He's not going to pick anybody more. So if you are late in selecting a supervisor or a professor, and you don't do that ahead of time because you were not required to pick a professor, and you wait last minute, you are going to be coming back and commenting under my video that Choco Millionaire, you are right. The earlier you start contacting the professor when you arrive in your country and your school, the better for you. All right, that is it about those who are required to apply. Now, if the school states categorically that you need to contact the supervisor before you apply, and you don't contact the supervisor, there is a good chance they will not admit you, because they are worried that if they admit this person, they will not get anybody to supervise the person during the research time. So you want to make sure if it is a categorical requirement, you actually follow through and reach out to a professor, right? Now, for those who don't also have the option of, or the requirement option where it says that reach out to a supervisor, should you still go ahead and contact a supervisor or you shouldn't? To be on the safer side, I'm going to say that there are 2 categories of applicants who may be facing this dilemma. First, those who don't have the requirement to contact a supervisor, but then they feel that in order to get a better chance of an admission with scholarship, they want to get a supervisor to boost their chances. Wait a minute, but it's not a requirement. What do you mean by to boost my chances? Well, if you reach out to a professor and the professor ends up liking you even before you submit your application, this is how he's going to boost your chances. If that professor is in the department you are applying to, there is a good chance the professor is going to convince the other faculty members or the professors in the department that, you know what, this candidate has reached out to me. I think he's going to be a good fit for our program. So during the admission process, please consider him. Basically, that professor can go and vouch for you. Look, there is an example of a Ghanaian lady that I know, right? She almost did not get an admission, but there was a professor who went to the department, convinced the friends that this person will make a good candidate, so they should admit her. It was only after, look, she actually told my friend ahead of time that, hey, they are going to admit you because I have convinced them to admit you. The professor actually told the student ahead of time that she's going to get admitted before the student even got admission letter. So that tells you that if you contact the supervisor ahead of time and the professor seems to like you as a person and your research capacity or your capabilities, there is a good chance that professor will vouch for you, put in a word for you during the admission process, telling you that, you know what, please admit XYZ student because I think they have the capacity to complete a graduate research in XYZ. They can vouch for you, right? Now, there are also some people who hate the idea of contacting supervisors. Even if it's a requirement, they just hate it. Some students don't like it. They don't like to contact supervisors before applying for the admission. Now, normally the people who have a difficulty for contacting supervisors are people who don't have a genuine interest in doing research at the graduate level. They only want to come and study and get their master's and PhD and then get their papers in Canada. They really don't like research. In fact, these are the people that probably don't like to sit down and write. They finished school a long time ago, so they don't have the appetite for studying and writing, but they just want to come to Canada, so they want to come and do a master's. They are normally the people who don't like contacting supervisor. One, Their grammar no good. They have difficulty of writing. They know to even string a couple of words or sentences that will make grammatical sense to send a professor is headache for them. These people, they always will avoid the potential supervisor contact point. They will avoid it because you see, they cannot, they have the difficulty of sitting down to write a meaningful whatever it is to send to a supervisor. So for such people, if you give them the chance, they will avoid it. Now, the second reason why a lot of people don't like contacting supervisors in UK, in Europe, in Canada, in US, even if it's a requirement, is that it is not just straightforward that you reach out to a supervisor and then the supervisor will say, yes, I accept you. No, that's not how it works. Let me tell you how it works. Let's say Choco Millionaire is a professor in a university here, and you want to get admission to come and do master's or PhD on full scholarship, and you decide to reach out to me, Professor Choco Millionaire. Look at what is going on. This is normally how the process is like. The student is expected to have gone to the website to read about Professor Choco Millionaire, to know what he researches about. Choco Millionaire's research area is about African leaders, African leadership. That is my research area. That is waiting at the right on. If this person contacts me, this person must demonstrate that they actually are familiar with my work, my publications, and what thing that they do. They must demonstrate that they have a research topic or something they want to write on and do their research on, which is similar or falls within the area that I, Choco Millionaire, I also am an expert in. So let's assume that the person who is contacting me is called, let me use a name of somebody, Evangelist Louis Barney. Evangelist Louis Barney is a potential student. He wants to apply to my university. He has picked Choco Millionaire and he's reached out to me. My area of expertise as a lecturer or professor is African leadership. Mr. Barney sends me an email. Hello, Professor Choco Millionaire. My name is Evangelist Felix Barney. My name is Barney. I'm a bachelor's degree holder with first class from University of Ghana or University of Lagos or University of Benin. You know, I have read about your research works, and I'm kind of very much interested in what you do. I also have the interest in, you know, studying in your university. I'm wondering if you would like to accept me as a potential student. Now, this student now has to wait for Professor Choco Millionaire to respond. One of two things are likely to happen, or is likely to happen. Either Choco Millionaire will respond to this guy or may not respond to this guy. First, if I respond, it's because I've seen his email and I kind of like what he's written, so I'm going to respond. Let's say I decided to respond to him. Hi, Evangelist. How are you? Thanks for contacting me. And thanks for saying that you kind of like my work. Good. So can you tell me a little bit about you and your research area or your research interest as a student? Do you have any topic in mind that you would like to, you know, research on during your graduate level if we offer you admission? Now, the professor is now asking Evangelist to tell him what he would like to study and do his research on as a master's student. So Evangelist now has to come back and tell me, you know what, I would like to write on corruption in Nigeria, a case of the Federal Republic, whatever. All right? But it's not enough to just give the topic. You actually need to actually write a proposal telling the professor that you know what you are about to do. Some of the professors, I could actually ask him to send me a 2-page proposal on a research topic or a research interest. I could ask this person, Evangelist, to send me a 2-page document telling me what exactly he wants to research on. Guys, if you just heard or understood everything I said, this is where a lot of you fail the test. You want to come and do masters. You want to come and do a PhD, but you've never even thought about a topic that you can write on that connects with something that one of the professors in that school, in that department, also works on. You are just desperate to contact them, hoping that they can put in a word for you. Here is the truth, guys. Professors here, their words carry a lot of credibility. They don't just recommend students. They only recommend those they think they can work with. those they think have the potential to make good students at a graduate level, those that they see potential to become researchers, those that they see potential to become next professors. So if you reach out to Professor Chako Millionaire and I ask you to send me a 2-page proposal on a topic that you want to write, and then it's taking you forever, you can't write it together, you can't put it together and send it to me, you're definitely not getting me as a supervisor. It simply means you only want to come and study, but you don't really know what you want to research on. This is where a lot of our African brothers struggle. They have first class, but they don't know how to write a research proposal. They have first class, but they can't even, you know what I mean, right? Some of us never really did thesis during our first degree. We never did research. We don't even know how to put things together, but we have first class. So those of us who have first class, second class, upper, but we don't even know how to write a 1-page academic proposal, we are the ones who are going to be falling out real fast. You see, because when the professors begin to ask you to submit a 1-page, 2-page proposal, the truth is most of us will fail the test. We won't be able to write it. The grammar way we they write everything now, WhatsApp grammar way we they write to, are they go come grammar way they write to, grammar way they make academic sense, which is a research-based proposal. Most of us will fail that test. Look, guys, some of you underestimate the power of what I do here. You have no idea what I do for people, There are people I have to sit down and edit their statement of purposes for them. There are people who contact me and I have to sit down and edit their research proposals for them. There are people who contact me and I have to actually rewrite most of their words for them. But these are people with first class. They can't even write proper grammar. People with first class, they can't even write a 1 paragraph that makes academic sense. But they want to come and do masters and PhD. I don't just blame them. It is a system of education we have back home. That people are having first class and they don't even know how to do research. People are having second class, but they cannot even write an academic proposal. So at the end of the day, if a school requires you to submit these things, these are the people who normally will come and say they are getting stressed. They want to get scholarship, but then they don't have the capacity to do it. I want you to know, when you reach out to a supervisor, you must have an expectation. 1, expect that a very good supervisor or professor will ask you to tell him or her what you like to research on if they give you the chance to come and study. If it don't make sense, they ain't going to get back to you. Did you hear what I said? If you don't tell them that you have a proposal ready or something that they will fall in love with to pick and say they want to research with you together and supervise you, they ain't going to contact you back. So those of you who professors are not getting back to you, go and check. You go and copy all of that email where you send. Go and put them on Grammarly. You know Grammarly? Now app where they take physics grammar. Go and put them there. You go see say the grammar where you write. If they sick well. Kwashoko grammar. You see what they Kwashoko grammar. Grammar where chop sickness, disease, plenty. They won't respond to you. They won't respond to you. Now, aside from the grammar, they can tell right away whether you are somebody who can do research or you can't do research. They can tell right from how you write. This is where a lot of people fail that test, guys. I'm not kidding you. I'm not kidding you. At the time when I was applying to a lot of schools in 2013 and 2012, I had very good friends who were helpful. That is why today I'm paying it forward by also helping other people. For example, I had a friend in the US, Michael, who is now a professor in the US. Michael, I won't mention his last name, he's a doctor now. I could send my statement of purpose to Michael. Michael will edit it for me. He will fix my bad grammar. Here I was with first class, so thinking my grammar is good. My English, they're good. This guy, go to take him, word, he go to underline and fix grammar. Say this one, no be so way with the right time. This one, no. This one we read, no good. By the time you return it to me, be like, say, then they have done surgery on that thing where I read to. You see, Michael helped me. He helped me to edit my things. He helped me. He was so helpful, right? That is why today I do it for a lot of you guys. I also edit to the best of my ability. Nobody say my grammar they good. We all with it try. Nobody. We are not British. Even people where they must even learn grammar. The rules of grammar they different, right? We all with it try learn. But guys, you need to have a network of people you can rely on. Please don't put Chako Millionaire first. Now I'm at a point where I am overwhelmed with some of these, so I'm not able to do it the way I used to. At the beginning, a year ago, I used to edit for almost all of you guys. But now I'm at a point where I just can't do it because the request is just too much. But beyond this, all I'm saying is you need to have a network of people who can help you when you need help. For example, some of them can be your seniors back in your university, some of your seniors who are now doing their PhDs or masters. Maybe you are friends with them. This is the time to contact them and say, you know what, I've written something. Is it possible you can review it? And help me, give me feedback on whatever I've written before you send it to that professor. Some of us, when we write, we don't allow anybody to edit for us, to review. You just go and send that Niger grammar, we no good. That Ghanaian grammar, we no good. That Kenyan grammar, we sick well. You go send them. That Jamaican grammar, we patwa day inside well. You go send and give white man, white woman, whatever woman, make it go read. By the time you read and finish, in head all day, go around, merry-go round like pizza, wait and put my head. Say, how you go admit you? How that person go admit you? How would that person admit you? They won't admit you. So take it seriously, right? Have a network of people you can rely on who can provide you free academic review when you put your documents together. Even when you compose that first email that you want to send to the professor, please have somebody review it for you. The person must not be somebody whose grammar is in need of help. It must be somebody you know, their grammar and their academic whatever capacity, they better than your own. Don't go and give it to somebody who go make the grammar. I hope so you understand that. Don't go and give it to somebody whose grammar is poorer than yours. Basically, that is it. All right. So do your best. Please also learn to write 1 to 2 page proposal. If you want to research on a topic, be ready to produce a 1 to 2 page proposal on this topic. 2, make sure the topic is something that a member of the department or a faculty member or a professor can connect with. How do you do this? Before you apply to a program, if the program requires you to contact a potential supervisor, first thing to do, go to the department of that program, check the list of faculty members, aka professors, read about each and every one of them. There will be one whose research area connects with your spirit and your interest. Did you hear what I said? Some of them, waiting at the research on, you just read and you notice that this one, no be your level. But as you go through, you will definitely find one person or 2 people whose research area is something that you like and something you can also work on. If you find these people, take your time, go and read some of the things they have written. Sometimes they have written books. Maybe you cannot get the books. Sometimes they publish articles or journals. Go online and go and look for their journal. Go and read it and see how they write their papers, how they argue for their papers. Before you go and contact them, you will notice that when you contact them, they will fall in love with you right away, because they will be so impressed with the fact that this student has spent some time to read about their research work and has been able to craft their own proposal or topic around theirs. Guys, simple as that. Let me pick my phone and see if I can be able to read something to you. There was a professor I contacted some time back. I sent this professor an email. But before I did that, I went on Google, read more about this professor. Then I crafted my own interest to match his. Even though at that time, God knows, deep from my heart, that was not what I really wanted to write on. But I wanted to get the admission, so I had to change my style to fit into this. Let me look for that and read it to you, if you don't mind. Let me just open my phone and look for that email, okay? All right, if you have questions, you can also keep it coming, okay? There is an app called Grammarly. Grammarly, grammar with L-Y at the end. You can use it to fix. There are different kinds of apps you can use to, check your grammar. Some of our grammar, the days people, the emails that I receive from people, some of the grammar way they inside, they make my head is sick. Well. Because people don't, we live in an era where nobody has time to proofread things anymore. Everybody type, boom, send them, bam, bam, bam. Grammar way they sick, send people to hell right away. English no be our own, but we must make the effort to actually double check things. It's not easy. We all get better. All right, give me 1 second. Let me just quickly look for that. I think I need to. The phone that I'm trying to use doesn't have Wi-Fi on it, so I need to connect to my home Wi-Fi. Give me 1 second here. All right, I'm just trying to connect to my phone so I can be able to use the Wi-Fi. Give me 1 second. Good. My other phone, my S10. Good. Time when man they apply for school, no easy. we had to write. Some of the schools did not ask. Okay, the title of the email I normally send to them: request for supervision. Request for supervision. Let me see. I'm looking for that in my mail, so bear with me. I'm just trying to pick. It was a long time ago. Okay. Google search is one of the most horrible. I'm looking for that file and all right, I think I have it. Okay, let me see. I think I have it. All right, so guys, I'm going to read it out to you. Listen carefully to it. The title here, this was an email that I sent to a potential supervisor in the US. I had applied to a school in the US. The name of that school is University of Akron, Akron. I applied for a master's in political science there. So I went online and then I reached out to a supervisor, professor there before I applied. I sent an email to this professor. So I want to read that email to you. I sent it on November 15, 2013. November 15, 2013. So let me go ahead and read it to you. I will be omitting anything that has to do with their I may omit 1 or 2 words there, but just listen carefully. So, dear Dr. Green, I humbly write to request your supervision and guidance regarding my academic ambition for master's and PhD studies. Now, those of you who are grammarians, at that time when I wrote it, my English wasn't the best. So if you find any errors there, point them out to you, especially those of you who are good. I am a young graduate from the University of Ghana in West Africa. I graduated in 2012 with a first-class honors in political science with sociology as my minor. I am passionate, disciplined, and ambitious young man with progressive mindset who believes in promoting free enterprise in free economies that will expand opportunities for all. I have initiated 4 key projects in Ghana which have received massive endorsement. This link, and then I added a link there, one of the links to a page that I created on Facebook doing some things around that time. This link is an evidence of my current initiative aimed at developing potentials of students at the tertiary level in Ghana. So I created a group. Some of you can go and check it out on Facebook. The name of that group is PIAC Foundation. You can look for it on Facebook. It was one of the early groups that I created just before I left Ghana. PIAC Foundation. P for Paul, I for India, A for Apple, C for Charlie. PIAC Foundation. So I shared a link with him to see what I do or what I was doing at that time using that group. Okay, PIEC means poverty is a choice. Poverty is a choice. So look at this. I created a group, and the name of that group is Poverty is a Choice Foundation. So way back in 2019, before I left Ghana, I already knew, even though I was poor, I knew that poverty is a choice. So some of you, when they look at me now, the way they speak, you think say that Canada will make they talk like this. Way back there, I already knew poverty was a choice, even though I was born into poverty. I knew I had the power to break it. So that was my mindset. I even created a foundation, PIAC Foundation, with the intention of encouraging people to break poverty from their family. Anyway, we'll go on there. I am a gifted public speaker with great charisma. I have followed your scholarly works for some time now and have been convinced that not only is your area of academic specialization unique, but that it also illuminates on some key variables that have major bearings on political determination and choices. The nexus means the link. Nexus. The nexus between politics, religion, and tribal identity are key determinants of political outcomes in my country, Ghana. For instance, religion came on top of the numerous variables that shaped the just ended general election. Many are those who fear the untold ramifications and political exploitation of these powerful and seemingly sacred tools on our politics, if not well managed. Indeed, there is a significant relationship between the Bible, the Quran, and the ballot box, as much as fate on election outcomes. I have followed your video interviews, books, and your publication for some months now, and I'm convinced you'll be the right supervisor for me. Michael So-and-so, one of your current students, was my colleague back at the University of Ghana. I was stunningly impressed with the new person he has become in terms of research capabilities and analytical skills, given his short studies with your prestigious university. I've read a couple of his own publications online and was convinced that the So-and-so Institute of Applied Politics is the perfect destination for me to pursue my master's and PhD. Given my academic interest in politics, religion, and tribal identity, I believe by coming under your skillful and rich professional tutelage, I will be able to achieve my career and academic objectives of becoming an influential academic, a researcher, and also the president of the next influential political think tank in Africa. Please find attached my transcript and curriculum vitae, counting on your affirmative response. Then I gave my name. Then I included my CV, my transcript. This was my first time emailing this professor. You may have heard me mention a lot of things. Let me unpack them one by one. First, I said I have been following this professor for a long time. The truth is, I hadn't followed him for a long time. I had only gone online on YouTube once, Google once or twice to read about him, check out some of his publications, check out him on YouTube to see if he has done a video on YouTube or something like that. You know, I did a little bit of research, but it wasn't for a long time. But I needed to show this man that, look, I just didn't come overnight to just start digging into him. So I had to write to let him know, like, you know, I told him that I've been following his work. God knows I had not even bought a book of this man, but at least I went online. 2, you also saw that in my email, I was focusing on how tribal politics, religion, and those things affect election outcomes in Ghana, especially in Africa too. Do you know why I focus on that? Because when I went through the research areas or the things the man has done, the professor has done, I noticed that in the US, he's also been writing about how religion, how religion, Christianity, how all those things affect elections in the US. So I had to quickly organize my strategies. Okay, since this man is writing about this, make me to play the Ghana one, politics and religion there, blah, 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 blah. Simple as that. God knows around that time, I had no interest. God knows, I'm honest, I tell you everything straightforward. God knows I had no interest at that time in writing on religion and politics or tribe and politics. I had no interest. But here is the question. Because this professor was the one whose research area was the closest to what I could connect with, I had to adapt my game. I had to adapt my own strength to match his. And guess what? When I sent him this, he quickly responded to me. He quickly responded to me. There is a good chance he actually clicked on the link to go and check me out on Facebook to see what project I was doing. There is a good chance he may have Googled about me to just read about me too. Then he went through my transcript. He went through my CV. Why did I add my CV, by the way? Because I knew on my CV, I had already listed all the things I had done, which were impressive. I was trying to get this man to look at my transcript, my CV right away and contact me right away. I remember within 2-3 days, he emailed me back and said my transcript impressed him and the things I was doing impressed him. And he encouraged me to go ahead and apply. He did not even ask me to submit a proposal. This man did not ask me to submit a proposal. I'm being honest, he didn't ask me to submit a 1-2 page proposal. But look at how. Now, I want you to, maybe I'm just overplaying what I just read. If you were a professor and I sent you this, and you've been writing on religion and politics in the US, and I sent you this, what are the chances that you respond to me? 2013, what are the chances that you would have responded to me? You see, for somebody else to be able to get this professor to also respond, you got to be stepping up the game, guys. Most departments can only accept about 3 international students. That's a fact. Department of Geography, about 3 or 4 international students. Department of Political Science, 3 or 4 international students. Department of Social Work, 3 or 4. Department of Public Administration, 3 or 4. And you know how many students are applying? From all over the world. Africa, 54 whatever countries, they are all applying. Students are applying. You know how many people have first class where you get? Plenty people get first class for Africa. So if you don't step up your game, there's a good chance somebody will beat you to that competition by getting that slot. It's very competitive getting scholarship. So you need to figure out how you can improve things. Your first email to a potential supervisor must leave a mark on their mind, must make them remember you. Don't just send an email. I am about to apply for this course. Can you please accept me? 1 paragraph emails. Those emails, they skip them. In fact, sometimes Google does not even let it reach the supervisor. They find themselves in the spam. They don't even see them. Write a serious email that will get the professor to think. You see that? You want to contact the supervisor, you don't even know what books he's written. You have not even checked out his articles, his publications, and you just go and send him an email. What do you think is going to happen? Those of you who have not gotten responses from supervisors, I want you to comment down there. Do you think you have checked the bosses the way you are supposed to contact? You have done no research on the person. And then it's like asking for somebody's help and you don't know the person. Simple as that. Look, let me give you an example. On my channel, on Facebook, on YouTube, I have stated clearly that I live in Canada and I talk about Canada. Imagine if somebody sends me an email. Hello, Choco Millionaire. Please, so I heard that you help people to get visa. I want you to help me to go to Austria or Germany or UK. Guys, I'm going to ask you an honest. I want people to comment down there. 1, when I see this, does it show that this person really knows me? Does it show that this person has done their research about me? They want me to help them to go to UK. I want you to comment down there right now. This person is emailing me, wants me to help him to go to UK. My question is, does his email to me show that this person knows me well for what I do on social media? Comment down there. I want us to see how it works. Comment down there. Let me see if I can get some comments there, because I want to make sure you guys are following me so that you can see why some things don't work for you. Does it show that this person knows Choco Millionaire for what I do? Femi Omosehi, no. Let me see. Olatubosun says, ignore straight away. Let me see. Perfectly, no. You can tell when people comment, you are going to see a lot of no's. It means that this person does not know Choco Millionaire. You know why? I don't do UK stuff. I don't do Austria and Germany stuff. I do Canada. So when you come to me and you tell me to help you to go to UK, straightforward in door. Simple as that. God be with you if it comes to me and I see it. Sometimes Google will even put it in spam. It simply means you don't even know the person. But unfortunately, these are some of the emails I get. Now, let's upgrade this conversation now to the next level. This person is emailing a professor to become a supervisor for him. Yet, He doesn't know anything about the professor. He doesn't know anything about his research with his publications, and he sends him an email. What is the likelihood that this professor will respond to this student to say, I want to accept you? Zero. Simple as that. So here is a question to most of you. You've reached out to professors. Did you demonstrate knowledge about these professors and their research areas? Did you also establish a connection between what they do versus what you want to do? It's one thing for the professor to research on something else, but the question is, how does his research come to help you? You got to be able to make that connection. The American professor is not an African. He researches on politics and religion in the US. But the question is, since it is something different from what I do, how was I able to connect it? I had to now link it by telling him the same situation that applies in the US, where religion plays a role in election, where Christians vote in a certain way, where Muslims vote in a certain way in the US. We also have that same thing in Ghana, where tribal politics, tribe where we come from determines how we vote. Religion where we belong to determines how we vote. So I had to make that connection and convince the professor that I am convinced that the amount of work he's done makes him the perfect guy for me. Simple as that. If you don't do this basic research, guys, you don't deserve a supervisor. See my face where I make straightforward face. That explains why many of them don't respond to you. Of course, some supervisors can also be a little bit arrogant. They may see it, but they just ignore it. But I'm saying that do your best, do your part, and God will lead you to that supervisor. Simple as that. If a supervisor asks you to write a 1-2-page proposal, would you be able to write one? Now, what is a proposal? It's not just English. It is something that states a topic, that states the research problem, that has a tentative, idea of how the end of the thesis will go or what your conclusions will be, and a probability that you even know the kind of research method that you will use. Is it going to be quantitative or qualitative? Is it going to be this? A basic summary of the problem and how you intend to go about it. A professor would like to know. You don't just tell them you are from Ghana, Nigeria, you want to come and study, you have first class. No, they are not interested in that. Especially if you are required to contact a supervisor. If you don't know how to write a research proposal, it's not too late. Contact some of your seniors back in your university. Some of them are gifted. They like research. Some of them may even help you to put some things together. They might charge you a fee or not, but get help. Let somebody help you to put things together. If you come to do your master's or your PhD, unless there is no research component, I want you to know in mind, you go to write papers. So papers where they talk. Grammar, proper grammar. Where they go to mark your grammar left, right side. You go to write them. That is the one beautiful thing about master's program. Unless your coursework, your program does not say you need to do papers and blah. But most of them, you'll be the right to 20 pages. Every semester, they write this one, they write this one. So if you are not the type who likes to research, when you come, you fall sick. You'll be calling your husband back and tell your husband, this thing is stress me. My English don't die a long time ago. Now Canada where I want can't get papers. It's just a fact, guys. I hope you've gotten something from today's video. How to contact the supervisor. I also recommend that you try and contact at least 2 or 3 supervisors, especially if one supervisor doesn't reach out or reach back to you. You might want to contact another supervisor in the same department. Now, here is a funny thing, though. The supervisors, they sometimes talk among themselves. So don't go and contact Choco Millionaire and go and sell Choco Millionaire a different sweet story. And then you go and contact Madam Choco Millionaire too, forgetting that Madam Choco Millionaire and Choco Millionaire did the same house, inside the same department. Sometimes they will go and be gossiping about you. Say, this person contacted me. He said he wants to research on religion. This one, or he will send me another email, say that he wants to research on oil and gas. How come one person is saying he wants to do this, want to do this? Sometimes they will be sitting in the department and they will be talking about the students. So they can tell those who are genuine, those who are not genuine. They can tell those who are changing topic just because of the professor, and they can tell those who are genuinely interested in research. Have in mind, if you contact 2-3 supervisors in the same department, there is a likelihood they could talk about you. If they find out that you are just merely changing things to suit them, they may decline because they can tell that you are not genuinely interested in the research. But if you are genuine enough, you do not over modify to make it look too fake. You understand what I mean? You will be smart about how you organize your things. At least have the same underlying research interest there, even if you modify it a little bit. I hope this video helps you there. All right. Now, what do you do if you email supervisors and they don't respond to you. That is a real pain. Some of you have sent me emails. I've sent emails to supervisors, but they are not responding. Maybe some of the things I talked about, you don't have them in line. That is why they never responded. On the flip side, a lot of supervisors or some supervisors could also deliberately just ignore because they just don't feel like responding. Don't get offended. Keep sending them the email. Keep sending them the email. If they do, fine. If they don't get offended. Part of life is to have an expectation to receive things and not to receive things. In other words, if you message a supervisor, have the expectation that he may respond. Have the expectation that he may not respond. Have the expectation that he may accept you. Have the expectation that he may not accept you. If you have both mindsets, you don't get disappointed too much. But if your mindset is that he must respond, you often fall sick or become very sick and disappointed if they don't. Have a dual mindset that it can happen positively, it can also happen negatively. Whichever one comes, I'll take it. That explains why some of you actually get so offended when you even see me on live. You're wondering, why has Choco Millionaire not responded to my mails? You don't have the mindset of he may respond or he may not respond. So when you send me an email and I don't respond the way you want to or on time, you're already disappointed. And you look at me and you're probably cursing me, insulting me, thinking that I favor some people and I don't like you and I hate you. It's because you don't have the mindset that I may get it or I may not get it. You see, in life, we need to be prepared for all results. When you apply, have the mindset that you may get it or you may not get it. And pray about the positive. Even when the negative happens, you have a good attitude towards it. When the supervisors don't respond to you, don't give up. Keep responding. Keep emailing them back. And if possible, move on to another supervisor. Don't carry that disappointment inside you and say, I will not continue anymore. Because these people don't. If you have that mindset, you will not be able to proceed to the next one. You might just be missing your golden opportunity in the next stage. Meanwhile, another professor is waiting for you to accept you. But because of the experience you had with one who never responded, you gave up and you never decided to continue. Have the mindset of moving on. Have the mindset of trying. Have the mindset of being determined. You will never be disappointed. If I don't respond to your emails, don't get disappointed. I have a criteria for responding to my emails. Hey guys, you are looking at one of the realest guys on social media, right? Me, I respond to emails when it is time for me to respond. No matter how many emails will you send me in a day. If it is not time, I never open my mail. So look at my face. Well, you see how my face changed right now. I want you to know that I'm a very principled guy. There is a time that I open my phone to check emails. If it is not time, forget it. You can send me 1 billion emails. I ain't going to respond. Simple as that. Because you see, people have times for doing things. And I want you to know me for my principles. You can send me 1,000 messages under a comment. Choco Millionaire, I've sent you email. Forget it, man. If it's not time for me to open my inbox, I don't open my inbox. Simple as that. If it's not time for me to receive calls, I don't receive calls. It's just my principle. It's just how I am. So, you see, if you come on my page and you don't have that mindset of knowing who I am, you're going to be sick most of the time. Because there is a good chance you have sent me 5 emails right now. And you are like, what the heck is this guy doing on social media and live video? Why is he not responding to my email? That is your own sickness. Carry it. It's your own sickness, not my sickness. Me, I only respond to messages according to Choco Millionaire's time. I only respond to questions under my videos according to my time, not your time. And you are going to respect that because I am me and you are you. I operate based on my own principles. When you carry this attitude, you don't get offended by things. You don't get offended when your girlfriend doesn't pick your call. No, she has a right to pick your call and not to pick your call. You don't get offended when your friend doesn't show up at your wedding. He has a right to show up and not to show up. You don't get offended when the supervisor doesn't respond. He has a right to respond and he has a right not to respond. When you have this mindset, you learn to move on in life quick. Some of us walking around with so much depression. Depression will be cause for ourselves. Because our mindset now only give me. We don't have the mindset of him. The moment God doesn't answer that prayer on time for you, you say, this God a fake God. You know they exist, eh? Because we don't have that mindset that opens up to both responses. So long as you are dealing with me, I'm going to say this all the time. Guys, I set time for responding to my mails. I set time for making my video. Nobody forces me to make video. I make the video when I can and when I have the time. So if you don't see me, when you fall sick, say Choco Millionaire, no, they like us. It's your own problem. Oh. It's your own problem, not mine. Oh. For me, I operate based on time. Simple as that. I hope you got something from today's video. This video was by kind courtesy. The request came from Michael Atisu. Michael, you requested this morning that I do a video on this. I hope I have exhausted everything here. I've given you a lot of tips. I even read my own first message that I sent to a potential supervisor, and I was happy that I got the admission. Guys, for some of you who will be wondering, so Choco Millionaire, that email that you sent, did you get the admission? Yes, I got it. Full scholarship, US. I got that admission, full scholarship. Eventually, I ditched them. I waited. I didn't ditch them right away. I waited. I actually accepted the offer and I told them I'll come. But then when I was about to make my decision on, I accepted all the schools. So Norway, UK, Canada, US. I accepted all of them with the admission. I accepted all of them. Now, when I finished, I now decided which one should I apply for the visa. Because you know, when it comes to visa application time, you have to be strategic. So I decided to pick Canada. But I had accepted all of them. And when I applied for the Canadian visa, I waited till I got a visa. It was after I got my passport with the visa that I went back and I composed an email that I'm sorry I will not be able to come. And I gave a long reason why I will not be able to come to the other schools. Don't make the mistake of rejecting other schools when you have not gotten your visa. Because when you don't get your visa, you might have to change your mind to go to another country, right? If Canada didn't take me, maybe I would have gone to the US or Norway or UK or whatever. You know what I mean? But I made sure I got my visa first before I said no to all of them. Right? God bless you. Thanks for watching Choco Millionaire. I believe I've covered everything. I talk too much too. But I hope it was not heat and useless talk where they talk. Everything where they talk, I hope say they ginger your brain up somehow, right? If it doesn't ginger you, sorry, you can go and watch some TV show. God bless you. Thanks for watching Choco Millionaire. I love you. Share this video to bless somebody, and I hope that it helps you to improve your chances. If you want to do your PhD or your master's, and it is required that you contact a supervisor, be smart about it, be strategic about it, contact a supervisor. If you are not required to contact a supervisor, you have the option of deciding to apply without contacting a supervisor, which is what some of us did when we're coming to Canada. You can also choose to contact a supervisor still. It may not mean anything. It may also help you if the supervisor puts in a word for you. But remember, don't tell that supervisor to put in a word for you. Don't do that though. The moment you start behaving like that towards white people, they will reject you right away. They will know that you are bringing your African bribery and corruption to them. Don't go and tell supervisor, please, can you recommend for them to accept it? No, don't do that. Just write and leave them to make their decision. The moment you start putting pressure on them to go and recommend you, they will notice that you are bringing your app. Don't just do your part and leave them to make their decision, and pray about it too if you believe in God. All right, God bless you. Thanks for watching. I'll leave you to have a good day. Family time, family Sunday. I'm going to spend time with my family. God bless you. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, these days I don't do my signing off. Remember, me and you, we don't need more money. I know say money is a problem. We don't need more money. Now more wisdom. Wisdom, proper dosage of wisdom. 3, 4, 5 dosage of wisdom every day. 9 we need. When we have wisdom, life will make sense to us. Money will follow us. If you chase money first without wisdom, you live a miserable life. Miserable, extremely miserable life. Wisdom first. Seek ye first the kingdom of no, that is wisdom first. Wisdom is the principal thing. All other things will come later. God bless you and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.